Hello and good evening. This is Jonathan Quell-Higgins, streaming live from Germany, and welcome to everybody who is joining the show tonight. Like most of you know, we changed the time, and this hour is really missing. So I just made it here. I have a couple of things in my mind. Didn't prepare a lot because, just like I said, we just had dinner. I had an earlier show with Tanzil, and when we discussed the potential new model from Patek Philippe. Tanzil sends his regards. He's out with Mrs. Tanzil, so he won't join me today. Oh, Tanzil says, "Wrench me, Higgins. It's my pleasure to do that." Let me see. Oh, I'm. My problem is I'm not logged on with the Swis Jon Show. I'm logged on as Jonathan Quell-Higgins. 1 second. Let me fix that. Yeah, so most of you know that there is a big event happening at the moment in Geneva. Most of potential guests are joining the show in Geneva or the show in Newcastle. So my choice of my choice of guests who are joining me tonight is very limited. I'm gonna post the link in the comments just in case that somebody wants to hold my hand. Now let's see if I can wrench Tanzil. I've just logged on, multitasking genius that I am. No, I'm still logged on with Jonathan Quell-Higgins. I must do that later, Tanzil. But I promise I'll do that in the after show or after the show when I watch the replay. So yeah, what do we have? Yeah, Swis sends his regards. He is he's going out with his watch friends from Geneva tonight. So he will not be available, hopefully, at a later point of time or maybe next week. Dodger is in Newcastle together with Jamie Opulence, as far as I know. OC, of course, is in Geneva. He's live streaming 24 hours. Mrs. Higgins is in the audience and says hello, everyone. So he's today my right hand. Will please have a look at the chats as well. But Danger Will Robinson is here, so there is no fear. So we had a great show last week. I was talking about the Credor Sonnerie watch, and breaking news. I'm trying to get this watch in hands. I reached out to the Grand Seiko boutique, and they are trying to get one because I must listen to that. What else happened? Last week, I made a prediction that there will be an anniversary Submariner in platinum. I showed you the clip, I dissected it. And on Monday, on the presentation of Rolex News, there was nothing. So it's quite embarrassing for me, of course. But I still stand with it. What I said, in my opinion, made sense. I don't know what's going on with Rolex, if they will show this watch at a later point of time or if they scrapped it in the last second. But I'm pretty sure they were preparing a platinum Submariner. I had a very long and heated discussion with OC, and there is a bet going on with OC. So OC is betting against me. I'm betting against OC. Watch out, 30th of August 2023. If on 20th if on 31st of August 2023 there is no anniversary Submariner in platinum, I owe him 1 bar of Rittersport chocolate. I forgot which taste he wanted. in return, if this Submariner Platinum edition is being presented, I'm getting 1 bar of Rittersport dark chocolate Vollnuss, so with full hazelnuts. So we are going crazy with our bets. So let's see what happens. So who is in the chat? We have here Patel Philippe, Tanzil. Tanzil, I'll please, Mrs. Higgins, remind me to wrench Tanzil. We have Danger Will Robinson, like always, reminding me to wake up and that the show is starting. He's a precision fanatic, I must say. I think I've been 30 seconds too late because Mrs. Higgins called me. So I will be late, yes, as usual, correct. So my Lange is running out of time. Actually, at the moment, I'm wearing my world timer. So danger with the breaking news. I'm late again. We have Watches 63. It's not really the case that I forgot to put it forward, but I'm still suffering with this stupid daylight saving times, which makes our world timers even more complicated. Who is the guy with a beard in the show credits? I think he's talking about Swis, my partner in crime. And yeah, Swis is in Switzerland at the moment. He is on the Watches and Wonder show, and he spent some times with his Geneva Watch Club, and they have some good appointments. Voulez-vous is here in the chat. Good day, wonderful people. Good day, voulez-vous. I hope that you're doing well. Danger Will Robinson is, like always, very nasty. Mrs. Higgins says hello to everyone. James, the advisor, is here. Crappy Luxury, like always, doesn't know what happens. Crappy, we are just doing an impromptu show. I'm in the same situation like you. I have nothing to say, and I'm just trying to make a boring show. So Danger Will Robinson reminds everyone to upvote, please. Please do that. Swis is the man about Geneva and in Geneva. So yeah, it's my fault that Rolex didn't present the Platinum Submariner because I broke their embargo. That is where speculation springs you. Marcelo says, hey, hi from Japan. Well, it must be in the middle of the night, Marcelo. I hope that that you're doing well and get some sleep. Voulez-vous says, hello, Marcelo. James, the advisor, says, no, Marcelo here too. And he's in Japan. Okay, so let's have a look what I have prepared. Yes, we have a wonderful event, I must say, by Patek Philippe. And I'm not talking about Watches and Wonder. As you may know, Patek Philippe is having a division which addresses about handicraft. So with very exquisite craftsmen, and they have an exhibition that is going at the same time, just like Watches and Wonder. And they presented a teaser, and I also have a little video that I wanted to show. You all know that that I'm a fan of those old traditional handcrafts, and Patek Philippe in their museum are doing a presentation which is really pretty, and I just wanted to share that with you. So here it is, rare handcrafts exhibition. For that purpose, they made those race car oriented dials. I'm trying to explain it a little bit to you. I think that the correct term is complevé. So this is not a cloisonné dial. And the difference between cloisonné and complevé is as follows. You see those golden borders, just like with cloisonné, but that is not a gold wire. So what they do is they negative engrave the entire dial, and those borders stay up unengraved, and they're then filled with enamel. So it is also that bordering technique that you know from cloisonné, but they carve it out of the dial, which is really rare and very special. Other than that, they are combining it with micro painting, just like here in the background. It's a beautiful motif. Whoever has been in Geneva, everybody knows that main bridge where the traffic goes through Geneva. You can see the fountain here in the background, and it's a vintage car racing motif. I have no idea if those races really took place. But it's a beautiful thing, I must say. To my taste, personally, it's a little bit too dark. I had long conversations with a friend. What is very special about this particular watch is it is a two-hander automatic with a 240 micro rotor movement, and so you don't get that on a standard Calatrava without the small second hand. Here you can see again the complevé enameling technique, which is really elaborate. And I would guess not many people know that. I will also come back to an article. Oh, Roar of the Tiger says that is a Maserati 250F. Thank you very much for telling us. I didn't know that, but I trust in your expertise. So yes, so those watches have the 240 micro rotor movement inside. Price is north of 100,000 Swiss francs. So basically, you're paying like 50,000 for this rare dial alone. That is just a ballpark that you see. How rare and how special those art pieces are. Here is a pocket watch with an enamel here on the case. The backside, the case back shows an enamel micro painting, which shows that jungle leopard, I think it is. And I will show you an anecdote about this particular watch. That is how it's presented. And here you can see the micro painting also in enamel. Patek Philippe will issue prices, I think, next week. You can see all those beautiful things at the Patek Philippe main building, I think that is. In Rue de Rhône 41 in Geneva, free admission, but you have to record yourself. So go on the Patek Philippe main page and click that button, and then you can apply for your cards or for your entry tickets. So Patel or Tanzil says I was an extra in the car on this dial. That is not true. I've been an extra in a James Bond movie, and Higgins can be clearly seen in the second car. Well, if you say so. One second, let's have a look at that. Not sure if Danger Will Robinson is being nice now or if he's being nasty like always. That looks like an owl. Come on here, Danger. Where are your manners? But it's a beautiful motif. For my taste, it's a little bit dark. Now we're talking about Patek Philippe, and you guys know how I feel about Patek Philippe. I'm not the biggest Patek fanboy, but I'll have to give it to Patek. In my opinion, they made two of the most interesting pieces with Watches and Wonders, and I would like to share them with you. So the first piece is a true heavy hitter, and you guys know You guys know how bad I am with reference number, but this is a very easy one. The reference number is 5531. Why is that easy for me? Oh, 1 second. We have a visitor here.
What's going on, JQH? What's happening, man?
Terrible.
How you doing?
Jamie, can you come back? Your audio is terrible. Please come back. We can't hear you.
Big, my friend, and you know it.
We can't hear you, Jamie. Jamie, please come back. Hey! Hey, Doctor!
With the boys.
Nice, please come back.
Yeah, we can't hear shit,
Oh,
but
no.
I'm sure you're going to talk great about Patrick.
Jamie, please
Have a good
turn
evening,
off the
mate.
noise cancelling. Jamie, please turn off the noise cancellation. We can't hear you. Oh, okay. You see, the guys are in Newcastle and they're apparently having a good time. So where are we now? Oh, Voodoo was asking about Snooky the cat, as far as I can see. The cat is sleeping on the chair now opposite to her, yes. And Voodoo is having some nice words because Snooky the cat is still on the line of being kicked out of the house of Higgins. So that is all Mrs. Higgins' decision, and Snooky is under the mercy of Mrs. Higgins. Okay, so let's have a look at 5531. I was explaining why it's easy for me to compute that reference number. The famous James Bond submariner from Live and Let Die is the reference 5513, so 5513. And that is a reference number that I know, and I'm just changing the last 2 digits. So that's a piece of cake, and it's very easy. So what do we see here? We see here a watch from the Grande Complication. It's difficult between German, English, and French. Grande Complication line. So what does this watch actually do? Let's have a look. Why don't the pictures show? Okay. So what is so special about this watch? It is, first of all, it is a cloisonné dial, just like Jamie says, audio is so overrated. First of all, we see here a cloisonné dial as well. I try to zoom in a little bit for you guys. You guys and girls, it doesn't work, of course, doesn't work. Mr. Higgins and the technology. Now it's gone. How do I move it back? Like that? Okay. So that is also a cloisonné dial. We previously had a complévé dial. Now we have a cloisonné dial, traditional technology. You can see here the gold wires in the lake. You can see the gold wires on the ship. You can see the gold wires on the flagpole, everything cloisonné. And that is also combined then with micro engraving in enamel. Here you can see the different colors of the sky. Here the lawn, the mountains that are going across the mountains, the Lake of Geneva. If you've ever been to the Lake of Geneva, you can see those ships that sail across the Lake of Geneva. Some of them go to Lausanne, some go to the suburbs, to other suburbs of Geneva. Beautiful motive, in my opinion. Also a little bit dark, I must say, but still lovely, and I really, really like it. Crappy Luxury says, I didn't read his question. Now let's go back to Crappy's question, because Crappy doesn't like, and I didn't read his. So Jamie needs more anti-magnetic cage, too much static. Not sure if that was your question. No, Crappy asked, what sausage goes best for dinner while wearing the Geneva Patek watch? That is a good question. I would say if you're wearing the Geneva Patek watch, I assume that you mean that one. There is there's a sausage with true truffles inside. So I would pair that with probably half a lobster and a good bottle of champagne. My recommendation, Boulanger, or my favorite is Laurent. No, it is Laurent Perrier, not Laurent Ferrier. Laurent Perrier Rose. That is my recommendation. Hope that that replies your question. Okay, now I'm distracting. Now I'm totally out. I see Dodger is sending me message. I'm over flooded here. I'm running crazy. I can't I can't focus now anymore. Okay, so let's go back to this Patek Philippe. Tommy is here in the comments. He says that title is misleading. I went nuts decades before we met. That is true, but I'm trying to hide the fact. Okay, so we have here this Patek Philippe watch with the Cloisonné d'Al. As far as we found out, you guys are educated enough to know that this is a world timer. You know my love about world timers. And finally, this watch is having a beautiful hour hand for a Patek Philippe world timer watch. Now let's keep in mind that Patek Philippe made some incredible world timers in the 1930s. I will go back very soon. Keep in mind that shape of the hour hand. It's absolutely gorgeous, and that is the right way to do an hour hand, and not just like they did with Jamie Opulence's world timer. That is just a magnifying glass for old people who are living in the past and virtually have no life. Okay, so now that we determined that, so we have a Cloisonné d'Al, we have a world timer that would be pretty nice and much better than Jamie Opulence's watch, dare I say. But now you can see the case back. And what you see here is a micro rotor. That is not much difference to Jamie Opulence's watch, but now we see here this central thing with a Patek Philippe logo, the Calatrava cross, and that indicates a so-called governor. The governor regulates. We talked about it last week. The governor is responsible that on a minute repeater, when, for example, it chimes 11 hours, usually it should chime ding, 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 ding. Problem is, if you wind the mainspring, it goes faster in the beginning, and then it slows down. So 11 hours would be bing, 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 and nobody wants that. So a governor regulates that speed and puts that tension in the spring into a constant force. We've been talking about constant force, and that thingy indicates that it's a minute repeater. And of course, the educated viewer of the shows already have seen those two hammers. Those are the two hammers that chime the minutes, the quarters, and the hours. And you can see here those circular things, which are the gongs. This watch has two gongs. So what we see here is not only a beautiful watch with, by the way, pierced out lugs, very similar, I must say, to the code 1159. The difference is code 1159, the lug is fixed at the bezel and is not fixed at the case. With Patek Philippe, the lug is fixed at the case and it's loose underneath the bezel. So it's a little bit different, but still very similar. And you see that gorgeous Clou de Paris or pyramid pattern here on the case band. Now, the most important thing for most of you trolls is the strap. They chose a beautiful pale blue alligator strap, which is very nice, goes very well with the watch. Actually, I had discussions if I should get a similar color for my world timer, because I like that so much. So you viewers may ask how much this watch costs. Well, it is like it is a little bit underneath 600,000 pounds. That's the price. So it's roughly 8 times of my world timer. Admitted, you have the additional complication of the minute repeater. Other than that, you choose which one you prefer. We have here another beautiful picture of the cloisonné enamel dial. You can here see the gold wire borders. Absolutely beautiful. I love it, and I would love to see it one day. So Rodent Mutation says he likes Jamie's watch better. Well, kudos to you. And I understand. I think we've been talking about the concept of a world timer that you have those beautiful cloisonné world maps, and you're traveling in your mind over that map. And certainly that is a point. And you can't do that with this antique motif. But I think it's a beautiful execution and something different. Muhammad Ali is asking a question. He likes the 6007G. Would I ever forgive him if he got one? So Muhammad Ali, the first question is, are you getting one? Second question is, should we show it to the punters? And of course, we're going to do that. So we have new models here. Those are unobtainable. And here it is. So Muhammad Ali, which color did you file you're interested in? So I was on another show. Yes, I'm on another show because I enjoy the watch conversation. And I called Patek out for having the laziest upcoming new watch that is possible. Because what Patek basically did is they introduced the same watch in steel with no color. I think 2019 or 2020, when they introduced their new factory building. They made a limited edition. I think it was 10,000. It was in stainless steel. Immediately sold out. The collectors went ballistic. And now Patek Philippe is presenting the watch totally unchanged, with the exception of those colored highlights, and with a case that is now white gold instead of stainless steel. And sorry, Patek guys, that is just lazy, and I really can't endorse that. Swis was on last week's show and said he appreciates when somebody is put an extra effort. Here, Patek made the lowest amount of effort possible, imaginable, and it's a beautiful watch. I understand when people want it, but I can't really fall in love with it because we've seen that a couple of years ago, and it's a little bit uninspired. Having said that, I forgive them because they introduced those beautiful watches that I showed you before. First of all, the 5531 with the cloisonné dial. My favorite new entry from Patek Philippe. There is another minute repeater which I really like, not only because of the strap that you see here. It has an orange strap as an option. That is also a minute repeater, virtually the same movement, just like you've seen before, without the world timer function. But this is a guilloche dial. This is a guilloche dial with an enameling on top. That is called, oh, help me out. I forgot the term. That is also a special enamel technique. It doesn't say email here on the bottom. That is in French enamel for the English-speaking people. You can see the minute repeater here engaging. A little bit a simpler case. You see here the traditional lux, traditional bezel, traditional case construction. Beautiful minute repeater. Also very much out of my price league. I like this. And another one that I really liked in a more affordable price range. I'm talking here too much, Patek Philippe, to be honest. One that I really truly love is that one here. That is an Aquanaut, it's called in French, Aquanaut. English-speaking people call it the Aquanaut. That is the annual calendar module that we all know, but it's upside down. So they put now the moon phase on top, and the day of the week on the right, and the month on the left. The big date for the annual calendar is unchanged. What I like about this watch is it's a sporty, elegant Aquanaut, which has this special touch with the moon phase. And I like the color, that pale gray blue that is also repeated in the strap. Now, the big flub, in my opinion, is Patek Philippe is marketing that für Damen or for ladies. And I don't understand why they're doing that. The watch is 39.9 millimeters, so almost 40 millimeters. In my opinion, it's a perfect size also for gentlemen. And I find it a little bit off-putting when they categorize that for being a ladies' watch. Here you can see the case profile again. Let me find some better pictures that I can click on, because that shows one of the negatives or one of the bummers of this watch. Isn't it beautiful? Okay, now a minor niggle is you can see here those pusher correctors, and because of them the watch is only water resistant to 30 meters depth. So I don't know why this watch has aqua or not in the title. It's a little bit bad that it's only 30 meters water resistant. Nonetheless, it's a pretty watch. I really like it. If I had 60,000 laying around, I would get it. So Muhammad Ali is saying 5226 on his list, and he has the 6006 added as well. Now, you're catching me on the wrong foot because I'm so bad with Patek Philippe reference number, but the search function may help me. 5226, which one is that? Calatrava. Oh, there is a new one with the skateboard tape dial. Okay, so yeah, I know that Muhammad Ali is also on the list on that. So he's giving his AD options now. Which one? Muhammad, how do you like the Aquanaut that I just showed? Watch the 63 is asking, how is that a lady's size when it's bigger than almost any other Aquanaut? Good point. I can't defend it. I can't explain it. I'm still with you. So JL is here in the comments. Jonathan Quell Higgins still prefer a Speedmaster. Not sure what that reference is about. I've been talking about the Speedmaster, that it's probably the most flipped watch ever. I'm not sure if he's referring to that. Other than that, one novelties that Patek brought out is that 24-hour dial here. So don't be fooled. It's not 10 past 10. It is now 10 past 8. What they did is, oh, you can't see anything. Why is nobody complaining? Usually you guys give me a hard time. Okay, let me check that. Okay, that is the 24-hour hand. So this doesn't show now 10 past 8. This doesn't show 10 past 10. That shows 10 past 8 in the morning. If it would be 10 past 10 in the evening, then this hour hand would be here. It also features a GMT function, and if I remember correctly, there are no pushers. Everything is operated by the crown. Am I right about that, or am I talking rubbish? Let's see it here. Do we have more pictures? No, we don't. Ah, here. Should be visible here with pushers if it had, but I think it's operated from the ground. Okay, so yes, I wanted to show you the video of the handcraft exhibition, and I hope that this is gonna work. I stopped the presentation because I want to treat you with some music. So I'll play that little teaser now. It gives you an idea, and I will stop with my favorite item. So let's run it and tell me if you can't hear the music.
Hello and welcome on Watches TV, and we're going to talk about Patek Philippe, but not what's happening behind me here at Watches and Wonder, because at the same time, downtown is held a magnificent exhibition showcasing some fine art and crafts with some different sort of timepieces, and I will let you enjoy it. But if you're in Geneva or in the region, this exhibition is open to the public from the 1st of April to the 15th. So please go and enjoy the show. And if you can't make it, well, just enjoy this video. It's only for you. Enjoy and viva watchmaking.
You can see a lot of cloisonné enamel here. Another cloisonné dial. Love those manta rays. By the way, with this machine, you can also do the guilloche on the dial, but that is an engine turning machine. This is my favorite by far. Hey, so I hope that you enjoyed it. I was putting the link in the comments, so if you guys would like to check that out, it's highly recommended. I would say, and yeah, it's a wonderful occasion to see those rare arts, even if you're not able to afford them. Now, to the topic of those rare arts, I have something to present. You all know that I have a good friend of mine. I have a good friend, and he's a massive. I screwed it up. 1 second. Let me take a screenshot of the image and put it on the screen. I have a good friend who is a massive Patek fan, and he told me that he passed on a dial, and I wanted to show it to you just to make an example that not only I screw things up, other people do as well. So this is an enamel dial that we've been talking about, and to me, this is hands down one of the most beautiful enamel dials that I've ever seen. That is also that jungle leopard. I think here is a jungle lion with a cloisonné enamel dial. What is super special are here the eyes that are very often, or a couple of times, they are made as dots, but here they look like little diamonds. So this is extra special effort. I've seen the same watch with the same dial with round dots. Now my friend has been offered this watch. 5 of them have been done, and he rejected. And a couple of days later, he came back and said, I want this watch. And Patek says, well, you're too late. Your watch is already sold. So what do you guys think of such a watch expert? I called him a dumbass, with all respect, and he agreed. And Mrs. Higgins saw that dial. I think she also fell in love with it. And she respectfully agrees that this was a dump-ass move by my friend. Okay, now that we are talking enamel, you may get a hint that enamel is one of my personal, what do you say, darlings. And there is a brilliant article from A Collected Man about the art of enamels, and I'm posting this here in the comments if you want to read that. Remember previously when I was talking about that Patek Philippe, minute repeater with the cloisonné dial? I'll pull it up again. This is Jonathan Quell Higgins fighting with the technology. Here you can see the hands, and they echo those old hands that I've just showed you in that A Collected Man article. That is a vintage Patek Philippe with exactly the same shape of hands. I find that very significant, and just like I said, I like this kind of hands much better than this magnifying, or it's also called observatory dial. So this article is about the different technologies of enamel, and we tend to glorify the old enamel arts. And the article goes also, or addresses that topic, because from our point of view, those enamel dials are timeless, and apparently no one else is able to achieve that. And there is a reason why no modern artist of enameling is able to achieve those colors anymore. Those old enamel colors have been full with toxic components heavy metals, and so on. And you may remember those enamel dials are fired up in an oven. So, and the author of this article says those old enamel compositions were good for the dials, but not good for the enamelists. So today, they are not allowed to work with those materials anymore. And I think one problem with modern enamel dial is that they can't simply use the same composition for those dials. So Rolex apparently had some beautiful enamel dials. You can see the cloisonné wires here very easily. I'm not going into that too deep. You can see here the enamel powder of a modern produced enamel dial. Here you can see the Patek Philippe world map again. One issue that we addressed, if you zoom out too much, the continents, the islands are getting very rudimentary. And one of my targets was to get those coastlines a little bit more elaborate and a little bit more detailed. But the colors are beautiful, and this simplicity gives it a beautiful old vibe, and it's just a joy to see. So this is one of the enamelists that does micro painting here, everything done by hand. What I find significant is she has that little monitor, and from that monitor she gets inspiration to draw those. And that is one of her products. That is Suzanne Rohr, as far as I know, very, very famous enamelist. So that is one of her creations. So here we have a modern enamel dial. Here we have a variety of different makers of dials, of watches that use different enamel techniques. My favorite here is the Patek Philippe with the palms. Here you can see another enamel dial which is domed. This is a very interesting thing here. That is a Vacheron Mercator, it's called, and that is done by a Belgian enamelist. His name is Genbrugge, and he had the idea. He presented the concept to Vacheron, and the CEO of Vacheron was so excited that he greenlit it immediately, and that watch has been approved and then done. There were two variants. One very limited edition with those cloisonné enamel dial, and one stamped dial. Those cloisonnés are very expensive to get. I remember we've been selling those. They were not really well received back then. Nobody really understood the need to spend perpetual calendar money for such a special dial. Well, now I know better. So here we have another micro painting. You can see here the detail. And this is my favorite cloisonné dial. And I try to explain it to you. I'll post the link to this article again here in the comments. So why is that my favorite? It may be not the most colorful. What I like is the three-dimensionally. So you see here that is a very dull and not translucent enamel. Then you can see the cloisonné wire, and here this enamel is totally translucent, and that creates those steps, that three-dimensional effect. And I totally love this style. It's not the most complex, it's not the most colorful, but I love those steps between translucent and what is the different? What is the opposite of translucent? Don't get it right now, but here you can see the fish that are made in dull, and then you can see those translucent elements with the contrast. Beautiful. I would love to own this style. So they call it polychrome. So here they also go into the different kind of enamels. Grand feu, I know what grand feu means. It makes big fire, and they explain why that is. Those dials are oversized because first of all they shrink, and secondly they are cut after the enameling process. They're cut at the outside and also in the center where the hands go, and also they tend to bend on the outside. So those dials are bigger than the final product is. Grand feu is because they are treating the surface with a kind of alcohol, and when it's put in the oven, there is a fire, so they burn. But it's absolutely delicate, and you can imagine the fire creates then little particles of dirt. If you have any dirt on the dial is scrapped and done again. So this is a very delicate process. A grand feu enamel dial has like 6 layers. The cloisonné dials have like 20 layers of or 20 burning processes. Here is an enamel dial by Patek Philippe. And here you can see another technology, and I can, so this is now flanqué. So what the enamelist does is they use a dial which is already guilloché engraved. You can see here the guilloche. And they put liquid enamel on top and then fire it up. And that gives it a very particular 3-dimensional effect. We had this technique flanqué on this dial on the Patek Philippe minute repeater. Let me try to pull that up for you. This is the flanqué. This is the flanqué enamel dial. So that is the end result then. So this is another technique then also flanqué. No, this is flanqué. Same pattern. So they give it a guilloché pattern and then coat it with liquid enamel. Now another technique is Champlevé, and Champlevé was the dial that I showed you earlier, Patek Philippe, with the race car. Let me pull that up again. That is flanqué, and that is the race car thing here. Let me show you the detail. So it looks like a cloisonné, but that is negative engraved. So those borders is not the gold wires. That is the gold from the dial that remains after the remains are all engraved out. So those borders stand then on the dial and are built with enamel, filled with enamel, and you can see it here. Oh, is it going away? Can't make it bigger, but here you can see those borders that are engraved out, and then the rest here is then filled with enamel, and those borders stay just like a cloisonné. And here you can see a classic example of cloisonné. We've been talking about that before. Gold wire, flat gold wire is put on the dial and then filled with enamel. Here you can see the printing process that can also be done with enamel powder. Here you can see how the printing on top of the dial appears to be floating because the enamel is so translucent. Okay, so that's enough. I've been going now for 55 minutes and didn't go anywhere. Did I lose any viewers? No, not that much. Okay, so we have JL here. The watch apprentice, did he ask some question that I have to reply to? I saw it. Oh, watch apprentice was asking my thought on the day-date jigsaw. Well, let's pull it up. Novelties. We go to brands. You know that we are not having a lot of Rolex talk here, but I'm happy to oblige. Let's see here, that is a bubble dial. And of course, they are not having those here. Let me pull up Hodinky. Give me a sec. I need 10-0. Okay, here it is. Okay, let me present it. Okay, here we are. So that is the jigsaw dial. Here it is. So it's not only a jigsaw dial, and by the way, this is also an enamel technique. I think it's also flanqué, if I know that correctly, but it's an enamel dial. So what is special about that? First of all, the jigsaw pattern, which is very unusual. I think Rolex went out of their comfort zone with that particular thing. What I like is are the rainbow-colored indexes that you find here. Here, that window usually shows the day of the week, so it has 7 different modes. And here it gives you an inspirational word like love or harmony or I don't know what. It's written down in the Hodinky article. And here where the date usually is displayed, you find those emojis. And yeah, so I personally like it very much. I think it's very unusual for Rolex doing those. I'm hearing that not every Rolex AD is getting even one. So apparently they're only making a few. This is a prestige thing. In my opinion, this is mainly to create some hype in social media because of those emoticons, which may be picked up then by social medias. Look, Rolex is doing this this kind of crazy thing. You can see the panda on one day. So I love it. I love the idea. I doubt that many people will have access to them. I'm pretty sure if someone is able to get one, they will make a very good deal because they will go like crazy on the secondary market. So that is my thought about it. But personally, I like them. Yeah, I've heard that as well. That they are for charity. I'm not sure if it's for autism or for something else. I couldn't find a confirmation. I heard it, but I didn't get the confirmation about it. Okay, let's go back to Watches and Wonder. I just wanted to present you some of my favorite things that I've seen. And yeah, one thing that I really liked was by Chopard. Chopard made that beautiful LUC 1860. We all know the model very well. I think we've discussed it here on the show. Now they're making it in 36.5, so the perfect size for Swiss. What they also are creating are those beautiful Metalem dials that are very similar to the Philippe Dufour Simplicity. Totally gorgeous watch, fantastic movement inside, the Geneva seal, LUC movement that you can see here. So what is not to love about that? Fantastic size if you can pull it up, pull it off. And let me say that I also like the gray dial a lot. Yeah, the Watch Apprentice says the outline of the jigsaw pieces are gold. We've been talking about flanqué. So the process is with the 1 second, let me pull it up again. The process with the dial is as follows. So Rolex is negative engraving this particular dial. So they engrave everything out and those borders stay. And then those spaces inside are filled then with colored enamel and being fired, filled up a little bit more, being fired, filled up a little bit more, being fired. So that is not cloisonné, that is flanqué, because that is an engraving, that is a negative engraving. So all those colored parts are negative engraved. A lot of effort, a lot of work, and you can do that. I would guess that Rolex has found an industrial process. I doubt that somebody is really hand engraving them. I think that is a kind of machine engraving. So a CNC machine is grinding those off before it's then fired up with enamel. Okay, now, yeah. So that LUC 1860s is very pretty. While we are with Chopard, they also introduced an Alpine Eagle with the same movement. Beautiful watch with a copper salmon dial. Here the Alpine Eagle 41 with virtually the same movement, just like here. Geneva seal, beautiful finishing, micro rotor, and we talked about it. It's virtually Michel Parmigiani movement, because Parmigiani was commissioned to develop those. So what else do we have? By the way, if anyone wants to join me, I'm dropping the link again because I'm running out of gas. Okay, so the title of the show and the question, have I gone totally nuts, was one watch that caught my attention. And of course, I can't find it here. Where is it? I can see a picture, but I can't see. Why is Mont Blanc not having that? Okay, no problem. We go to Hodinkee. No, I think I have to go to monochrome. Give me a sec. You guys know that I'm not the biggest fan of Mont Blanc watches, and if they present one that I like, that adds to my excitement, and I would like to introduce you to the Minerva Monopusher 1858, which, as far as I know, is the founding year of the Minerva company. Minerva is an old watchmaker focused on chronographs, has been purchased by Montblanc a couple of years ago, and Montblanc are using those beautiful traditional old chronograph movements by Minerva for some limited editions. So what do we have here? It is a sporty watch case in steel with a PVD coating. What they do, and that seems to be one of the themes on Watches and Wonder. I've seen the same technique or the same shtick with Panerai. They PVD DLC coat a case, and then they scrub it with stone to give it a used look. I personally like that a lot it adds to the vintage vibe that you get from this watch. They add that beautifully fluted white gold bezel on top. I think it's a very nice concept when we're only looking on the case. Now let's have a look at the movement, and the movement is something really special. So let me show you that picture here. So what Montblanc is doing here, at first glance, you can see a chronograph. Here is the second of the normal time. That is the minute counter of the chronograph, and you have a central counter that is the second counter of the chronograph. So far, nothing really special. Here is the seconds of the time. Those are the two normal hands. That is the minute counter, and that is the central second counter. So you may ask, what is special about this? Well, what is special about this is Montblanc were turning or flipping that movement. So what you see is the backside of the movement, the rear side of the movement, the side that you usually see when you flip the watch around and you have a transparent case back. Now, you don't have to bother to flip that watch around. You see what you would usually see through the watch case here on the front. And that is a very unusual idea, I must say. And it's also very complicated because you can't simply stick a pivot and use the hand then on the other side, because if it would be that simple, that second hand would go anti-clockwise. So you have to recomposition the gear trains for all the hands, and that is quite complex and quite challenging. So the entire construction of the movement has to be changed, adopted to this crazy idea of having the beautiful case back of a watch being visible at the front. I think that shows a lot of effort, regardless of the beautiful anglage that you see here on the movement. Beautiful anglage, even I think I've seen some inward angles even. Let me check. That is the, where did I see the inward angle? Maybe not. Okay, I take that back. Can't see the inward angle here. Maybe someone else will find it. Here's a sharp angle, but not an inward. Okay, but there's beautiful anglage. There's beautiful finishing here with that snake tail that is very typical for Minerva and for Montblanc. Column wheel chronograph. You can see it here. It's horizontal clutch, which is here. That is engaged and not engaged at the moment, is not engaged because that is the central wheel of the second hand of the chronograph. I think it's a very unusual idea, combined with this new kind of tarnishing of the watch case. The watch is around 40,000 euros. Not too bad for a virtually in-house manufacturer, old style chronograph movement in such an unusual watch. They are having a limited edition out of them, very special thing, and I must say I totally love it. Okay, so Watches 63 is asking, Jonathan, have you heard about the 1.9 million Sea Dweller 43? To be honest, no, I haven't. Muhammad Ali is hurrying home. Voulez-vous says a Patek Philippe watch just sold for 5.8 million, making it the most expensive watch ever sold at an online auction. Was it just in the last couple of hours? Because I haven't seen that in the news. That sounds intriguing, interesting. I would wonder which watch it is. Rodent Mutation, if Montblanc would just change their logo, what don't you like about the logo? Don't you like the logo here, or don't you like the logo on the crown? I think the logo here on the monopusher crown is quite okay, and that is the traditional old style Mont Blanc logo that they had on the very first Mont Blanc fountain pens. So it has some merits. I agree that Mont Blanc is not the first address, the top address for high horology, but since they are using those Minerva movements that are really beautiful, they don't have to shy away from the Lemania 2310, which is the grandfather or the OG for all complicated high horology chronographs. They have nothing to be ashamed of. So watches 63, it was shown to the Rolex ADs with strict no photos rule. Not sure what he's talking about. The mountain looks like a dump. Well, okay. I see your point. Maybe that is a case now. When once you've seen it, you can't make it unseen. Never saw it that way. I see it as a stylized mountain. But yeah, if that's your opinion, I can't argue with that. Okay, so yeah, that is one of my favorites from Geneva Watches and Wonders, I must say. What else do we have? Oh, I'm going back to Watches and Wonders. We have the brands. So Chapek introduced the well-known En Tactique Passage du Drake, now with a transparent dial, and according to Chapek, it was very complicated and complex to make that. So it's not only piercing out the dial or something like that. It was really complicated and complex. Limited edition, 100 pieces. I'm pretty sure it's already sold out. They also added a couple of different colored dials, and they have now introduced the titanium En Tactique Passage du Drake. Personally, I'm not the biggest fan of it. I find the dial a little bit rudimentary, but as we all know, oh, why is nobody complaining that nobody can see it here? No. I'm working my ass off here on a screen that you guys can't see. Okay, here's a movement again. The Chapek En Tactique Passage du Drake. Beautiful movement with a micro rotor, 6 internal angles, and that is the titanium En Tactique that I've been talking about. Have you seen the one with the transparent dial? Or did you guys miss that out as well? So that is a transparent dial. So what else do we have? New. Let me comment once on Grand Seiko. Grand Seiko introduced a very interesting chronograph, in my opinion. Usually, Grand Seiko chronographs are pretty chunky, combined with ceramics and so on and so on, and mostly combined with a spring drive movement. Now they have an entirely mechanical chronograph that is based on the new movement with the high beat escapement. With a dual impulse escapement. I'm a little bit disappointed that this is a module chronograph. So they took the new automatic movement and added a chronograph module, which is also entirely made in-house. Problem is the movement is then 8 millimeters thick, so it's quite chunky still, the watch, and yeah, it's a little bit too thick in my opinion, and from a horological point of view, it's always inferior compared to a fully integrated chronograph. And keep in mind the prices that they are commanding are similar to a Daytona. Well, you can't get a Daytona, we all know that, but I'm a little bit disappointed. I'm hearing that the pusher action is beautiful, gorgeous, very short, very pronounced. I hope that I can try this watch out in real life very soon. You can see the Mount Ivate dial with that beautiful blue color. So it's a nice watch, but it's not on my top list. So what else do we have? The big thing, or the thing that really excited me, is IWC. You may remember that I've been asking for years now that they work on the engineer and make it new or modernize the case design or the entire watch. Now, you may know that I used to own the predecessor to this watch. I didn't fall in love with it for several reasons. First of all, it was very edgy. Here, particularly this part where the case slopes down, there was a sharp edge here, so it was very edgy, blocky. Secondly, it was 42 or 43 millimeters. It was really big. The new one is 40 millimeters, which is a fantastic size in my opinion. And the third thing is the old one had the beautiful in-house movement, but that was a chunky monkey, a very thick movement. Now they went back to a movement which is based on ETA 2892. Some people don't like it. Some people don't like it, but it's highly modified and it's a flat movement. So it gives a very flat profile to the entire watch. And that is very charming to it. They also repeated the pattern of the old Ingenieur SL designed watch. Keep in mind, that was one of the Gerald designs. Now, there is a lot of light. There are two things that I don't really like on this watch. You can see here those 5 holes that are typical and very prominent for the IWC Ingenieur. In the old days, you had a special tool that went into those holes, and you could bolt the entire bezel off and on. It had a gasket underneath, but that was a functional bezel. Now the IWC designer decided that it was a bad thing because those never really perfectly lined up because you bolt that bezel until it fits and not until it looks nice. And he found that imperfect. Now what they did is they have here little hexagonal screws, and the entire bezel is now screwed on with those 5 hexagonal screws that are in those holes. So they modified the design a little bit. I think it takes a little bit the charm of the old one, but it's still a beautiful watch. That's a watch that I'm looking for. By the way, last minute news, IWC presented that there is a clasp with a micro adjustment similar to the Lange Odysseus. Now we're talking about Lange, so now let's go to Lange. Where is it? No, I can't find Lange here with IWC. Yeah, Lange is here on the top. So Lange's breaking news was pretty well expected. I think we've talked about it here on the channel. The Odysseus has now a brother that is a chronograph, slightly bigger than the normal traditional Odysseus. Now those pusher buttons have a second purpose. It's start here on top, stop and no, the reset I think is on the rear. No, it's not on the rear. So it must be, no, it starts, stop, and here's reset. It's too late now for me, so I have to to finish the show very soon. So, okay, start and stop, and here's the reset. So you may think that this is a rattrapante or split second. It is not. So to keep the dial clean, you can't see subdials for the chronograph. So this is virtually the standard dial, just like you see on the normal Odysseus. What you see here are two central hands, and both hands connect to the chronograph function. The silver one is the minute counter. The red one is the second counter. So this here starts, and after it's been spun one round, this silver counter is going then 1 minute further. And we have a guest here. Hello and good evening, Muhammad Ali.
Hello, Jonathan. Good evening.
Thank you very much for joining. I hope that you didn't hurry too much.
I didn't hurry. It was a kind of natural walk home. It's good exercise.
Okay, okay. We don't want to stress you.
That's okay. Thank you.
How was your evening so far?
So far, very good actually. I caught the beginning of your show, and I just had a kind of a walk to get the groceries. So I do that every night just to make sure I get out of the house and get 3 or 4 miles in. To keep up with my health regime. So I do a walk in the morning. I do a couple at lunch times. I try to get 10 miles a day as my goal. So yeah, so you've got to keep up with it every day. I can't be lazy for one day.
Oh my God! Okay, that is a strict regime. So you're not using the tube then very often?
No. I use a tube when I need to go into town, but lots of time what I try to do is I try to drive into the outskirts of the city, and then I try to walk the rest. So I try to keep a few miles a day by walk. So yeah.
Okay, so
and it's a good way. It's a good way to consume watch content as well. While you're exercising, listening to the streams. It's a good way to do it. It's a good way to keep you distracted while you're walking and engaged in content.
Yeah. Otherwise, I guess you're doing the same route most of the time. Is that correct, or are you changing your?
I changed the route. In the evening, it's normally the same route. But during the day, or if I'm heading into town, I change the route a bit to get a different scenery.
Okay, so Mohammed, here, confession time.
Yes.
What went down with you?
So this is the 6007.
Yes.
Yep. So it looks like a really nice watch aesthetically, and I'm very interested in getting a Patek. So I've been talking to the AD, and they've been giving me kind of options for my first Patek. So unfortunately, the Aquanauts and Nautiluses are out of reach, which has been made quite clear. So I'm looking at what other Pateks are available that I'll actually truly enjoy, because my plan is obviously a Patek isn't a cheap watch. It's high horology. So if I'm spending 35,000 pounds, I want to get a Patek that I'm absolutely in love with for its own right. And it may be my only Patek I ever get. So I've been looking at potentially the 5212, the weekly calendar. So that's on a list of watches I've asked for. I've asked for the 522 6G as well, which is, I think you showed it earlier today. The skateboard dial, that's a beautiful watch. So I was looking to add some additional options for the AD to say, okay, if any of these come through, and obviously because it's a new watch, I wanted to kind of get my request in fairly early and fairly quickly, so that if any opportunities came to purchase one, it would be with me. So that's the reason I kind of mentioned the 6007A as a kind of another option as well. I don't know how popular they're going to be. I mean, I know it's a Calatrava, but the feeling I get from listening to other people is that it will be a very popular watch. I like the look of it, and it's a Patek, and it's a beautiful watch as well. So,
look, you may heard the beginning of the show, and I was having a go at the Patek Philippe, not because this is an ugly watch. Don't get me wrong.
No,
I just find it a little bit lazy to take this existing model and just add some parts of color and
Exactly.
make a big thing out of it. That is the only criticism that I have.
Absolutely. I was only joking in the chat.
Yeah. No, additionally, Muhammad Ali, just imagine that you've been part of those 10,000 people who bought that limited edition in steel with the blue dial. How would you feel if Patek comes with basically the same watch now in white gold in a regular production?
I think I would be annoyed if you did manage to get one of the 10,000 pieces.
Yeah.
But Rolex do the same. You know, all the models that Rolex do, they do. Well, most models they have obviously a steel, then they have a two-tone, and then they have a precious metal variant. So I think it's what all the kind of brands are doing with their kind of main lines is having obviously the option of steel, precious metal, two-tone. So I think it's Patek are following very similar to obviously what Rolex and other brands are doing.
But that may be also a warning to those who are hunting limited editions with the only purpose of having tremendous value then at the end of the day. One stroke with a pen and your investment plan could be severely affected by that.
Exactly. But yeah, I think it's from my perspective, I'm just looking at it, getting a kind of a Patek that I think is truly brilliant and lovely, and so this is what I'm considering. Obviously, I don't know how difficult it is to get, but I'm just putting in the mix with the other two models as one which I would be happy with as a first and possibly only Patek I ever get. I have to be realistically. £30,000 is a lot of money, so I want to get one really good Patek. And one I like to wear. I've been offered a couple of others already, but I'm kind of holding out to spend that money on one model that I really will enjoy owning and wearing.
I have a question, but I'm a little bit hesitant in asking it because I don't want to pre-program you. So an obvious question would be, now you mentioned 3 different models. Which one would be your favorite? But that implies if you don't get it, then you will only get the second choice. So how is your mindset about those 3 models?
It's I mean, I actually like all 3 models for very different reasons as well. So I think it's actually going to be quite tough. I think from a complication standpoint, the 5212 and the uniqueness of that watch.
Weekly calendar.
The weekly calendar. Yeah, that would be, and I've already told the AD that's my first choice. Should that become available, and then the 5226 and also the new models. They're very good standalone watches as well. Much simpler, 3-handers with date. I don't know. I like them all, to be honest. I think whichever one I got. Yeah.
So you won't have any regrets. You won't have any regrets, no matter which model you would get.
No matter which. I may in the future get another one, but I'm thinking, it could be, my only Patek. So I want to kind of make sure it's one I really like. But obviously, you have to be conscious that, these watches are, tough to get. There's limited run. There's lots of people after them. So it's a bit of, it's good to have options, but obviously it's good to have a favorite as well and try to aim for that favorite one.
So we have here a rodent alert. I guess that it's Jin Tingler. So hello, good evening. Thank you very much for joining. Welcome to the Swis Jon Show. If you want to join us, I'll post the link again. So there have been rumors that Patek Philippe, or there was an article, I think Bloomberg article, that Thierry Stern announced that he's working on a kind of entry-level model. Did your AD comment on that, or was that earlier before that article was?
No, I haven't. I haven't spoken to them about that. I think it was. I think I heard Tan talking about it earlier today. But yeah, I've not kind of digged further into that.
It would be interesting because the last new true model, so we're talking about a product line, I think it's over 20 years ago that they introduced the 24. That was even after the Aquanaut. So it's going to be interesting what they're going to bring up. I think they are targeting something for a younger crowd. I think Archie made last night a very good comment, not about that new Patek model, but about that Rolex Oyster Perpetual with a bubble dial. That is for sure targeted to a younger audience. But the reality is, this is now the trophy watch for the most loyal, most established clients of the ADs. And those are not very often young people. So it will be interesting where those pieces end up, and probably a brand new model by Patek Philippe will also be a kind of trophy watch then for the established Patek collectors, and will be unobtainable then for the younger, newer ones. And you're one of the newer clients of Patek Philippe. You're trying to enter the brand, or to start your journey with them, and they're making it really difficult to you.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I think obviously if something did come out, it'll depending on how it goes down, how it's marketed, and it's one of those things. If everyone likes it all at the same time, it'll get the hype very quickly. Yeah, as you're saying, with the Oyster Perpetual, with those colourful dials, there's most of them have been discontinued now, and they're only available for a year or two, and they were really trophies for the VIP clients.
Yeah.
Rolex didn't produce a lot of them, especially the Tiffany blue and the coral red and the yellow are great colors for a younger audience. But yeah, they've just become the exclusivity of how good your relationship is with your AD, financial, or whether you can sweet talk them.
Yeah, I find it a little bit ironic that Thierry Stern's mind is so much about how to create a watch for younger people than our traditional people, and then the reality is those end then with the oldest clients. And I'm not only blaming the ADs, because you know that I worked for an AD, and I know the daily problems. If you have a prime location in one of the main high streets in the capitals, you're paying an enormous amount of rent, and you must look that you make enough money out of the couple of watches that you receive by Rolex or by Patek Philippe to pay the rent, to pay your staff, to pay for the stock that you have, and so on and so on. So the costs are high, and those ADs are under enormous pressure from the manufacturers. Look, if you don't take this amount of watches, then we're going to terminate the contract. You have to invest £1 million for making a Patek Philippe or Rolex corner. You must spend the amount X for advertisement. So those ADs are under a lot of pressure from the manufacturers, and of course they are then trying to get as much money out of their clients as possible. So it's not only pure greed; it is an economic.
It's economics.
Yeah. So
absolutely. I think it also depends if the entry line or the new models that they're going to introduce, if that is additional capacity that they have, or whether it's taking away from their existing numbers of the other models they can offer. Because if it's taking numbers away from Aquanauts and Nautiluses and Calandrales and Complications, then it'll make the other models tougher as well.
But would you think that if Patek would be able technically to drop another 10,000 pieces from a new product line, that this will substantially change the supply situation with the brand? I would think it's just a drop in the ocean, particularly.
Yeah, it's a drop in. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's only going to be 5,000-10,000. It's not going to be 50 or 100,000, which would have a material impact.
Yeah. So my call to Thierry Stern is, if you're really serious about getting new clients, then you must find a deal with the ADs to kind of compensate them, because the ADs will look who is the most interesting client for them to give those rare items to. That is just a natural thing. And I think Patek Philippe must have a conversation with their ADs. Probably they don't allow their ADs to sell those to existing clients. That would be something, and probably enforce it then. Not sure if that's going to work, or if that's going to be circumferent. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that'll be a tough one for Patek to manage. Because obviously the loyalty of the AD would be to their existing clients. It'd be hard for them to say no to clients
Exactly,
that have got,
they have to
6, 7.
choose between their most loyal client and their most important supplier. So
Exactly.
that's going to be a tough cookie then.
It'll be a tough cookie, but I'm sure if you're back in the AD, Jonathan, you'd manage it with a smile.
No, but my entire point is, okay, Thierry, you spend a lot of brain power into creating watches for younger people, but probably you should work a little bit better on the way that your watches are distributed than to the final clients.
Yep, and that's a problem all the Holy Trinity and Rolex have as well.
Yeah, and it's not going to be better in the coming years, I would guess. Okay, so
we should listen. We should have listened to you, Jonathan. Last year, the year before, when Lange was below retail, and you could grab them up. If only I'd listened to you, Jonathan.
Mohammed, sometimes I feel like the preacher without a church. Or I was saying it today on Tanzil's show. What is really funny is this is all happening in our heads. So now, today, Lange is the hype, and you can virtually not get a Lange at retail anymore. And 3, 4, 5 years ago, nobody wanted them. They were only able to sell them with a high discount, and they were tanking on the secondary market because nobody wanted them. The product hasn't changed. The quality of Lange watches hasn't changed. It was just the perception of the collectors that has changed. And that's very interesting to observe firsthand.
It is.
Okay, so let's go back to this Lange Odysseus chronograph in stainless steel. I'm not sure if you told me that you don't like the black dial or somebody else. Did you tell me that, Mohammed?
No, I didn't. I think it's a beautiful watch. It looks great.
Because I had a conversation with somebody who said they should have remained or limited themselves to the well-known blue dial. I must say I was not impressed when I saw it in the first place. I still have a lot of question about that watch, but I've seen a video of the watch in action, and I must say it looks fantastic. It looks absolutely fantastic. And the price is insane when you look at it at first glance. The watch is 130,000 euros in stainless steel. Insane amount of money. It's 100,000 euros more than the normal three-hander watch. I still haven't figured out how the reset process is being done, because it's very similar to the chronograph that we've been talking about, and the chronograph is in a similar price bracket like the Lange Odysseus chronograph. It's a beautiful movement, I must say. Lange doesn't disappoint here, and I was not impressed. I'm not convinced at the moment. But I feel that in the coming months, we will discover a lot about this watch, and I think I'm going to change my opinion about it. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it does look beautiful. Yeah, I don't think Lange will have a problem with this watch. I think it'll ship nicely to VIPs.
It is. I know a collector
Yeah.
who asked at Lange, and they told him you're not gonna get one. So
Yeah.
they didn't even say no,
Yeah.
sorry, you've not been picked up on the list. I think they asked him not to ask for
Not
this
to
watch.
ask.
So they have a limited edition of 100 pieces. Apparently, they're all sold out, and it's not the question. Have you been
Yeah.
on time to put your interest down? They're just choosing which collector is getting those. That is part of the reality that we're facing today, and it's sad, I must say. I'm still a little bit disappointed with Lange that they are now squeezing up, and I'm a little bit disappointed that they booted their first hour clients, the ADs that really supported him right from the beginning. I think that's not a good style. That's not a good way to treat people or companies. Okay, so what else do we have? We have here Van Cleef and Arpels. I know that Voulez-Vous is waiting for it. Voulez-Vous, I've been checking the news. There are some beautiful updated models on Van Cleef and Arpels. I'm still waiting for first-hand reports. I like that Perlé watch. I would like to point to that watch. So basically, they're using here little golden balls and weld them together. Those are single balls from what I understand, and I've been talking to someone many years ago, and he told me, "Do you have an idea how difficult it is to make perfect balls out of gold? Because you can't cast them. There is no mold or something for a golden ball. So the technology to make those little thingies is really complex, very difficult, and I like those two raws. I'm not sure how I feel about the 23 millimeters. Voulez-Vous, she says, yeah, and the Perlé comes in a necklace watch. Let me show that for a second. Where's the necklace? Help me, Mohammed. Please help me. Is it shown here somewhere? Ah, yeah, here it is. And it has that hidden or that cover that then covers the watch. Very complex process also to produce those covers. I think you're talking about those Voulez-Vous.
Yeah.
Beautiful, very Van Cleef and Arpels, I would say, and yeah, the girl's best friends. So the Perlé is also now coming on a metal bracelet, also with those pearly thingies. They also have a mother of pearl dial, as far as I know, guilloche. So Van Cleef and Arpels is working a lot on those. Oh, we have McLovin here. Hello, good to see you, McLovin. We keep in mind the contest of the 4 integrated bracelet sports watches. We will do that one day, and I hope that that you will not be disappointed. How do you like your Chapek on Tactique, McLovin? Let us know in the comments. So where Van Cleef and Arpels always shines are those automatons, I think they're called. You can see it here in the video. It is a flower that opens and reveals then a butterfly, a jewelry covered butterfly in the center of the blossom.
Wow, it's
I
pure
think you
art, Jonathan.
say it
It's
again.
pure art. I say it's pure art. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Can you hear the music?
No.
I think you can't.
can't.
I can hear the music, but the music is not important. I just wanted to show it how it opens with the delicate gold work. That is where Van Cleef and Arpels shines, and we so much love it. I'm still in love with their flower watch that opens. Here you can see one of the newest ones with a top that opens when you operate here one of those elements, as far as I know. Can't we see that it opens? Okay, so where's the gold dust, guys? Can you tell me that? One second, Van Cleef and Arpels again. Gold dust. So does it spray gold dust? Because I haven't seen the gold dust here from the video. A second, let me check. Quicker than drawing is here. So the Éveil du Cyclamen automaton showcase a bouquet of flowers that open to reveal a bejeweled butterfly. Lacquered cyclamens emerge from a purple jade bowl and come to life. Where is the gold dust? I can't see something with gold dust. I'm playing the video. I can't see gold dust. I can only see those little diamonds emerging. Maybe they symbolize the gold dust. Not sure. Have you seen gold dust?
No. No. Yeah.
And it also plays a music. So I'm not sure if those spirals symbolize the gold dust. Watches 63 is asking how much they cost. Over $1 million, and those are pieces unique. So I don't know. The last one was 5 million, as far as I know, that participated GPHG. Quicker than drawing says, schönes Wochenende euch allen schönes Wochenende, auch für dich. Quicker than drawing, always hopping on and sending his greetings. Always good to see you. So what else is new with Van Cleef and Arpels? They are also here giving some updates on the Alhambra collection. That is the one here with the butterflies. They have now a guilloche dial. Here it is. And I'm waiting for what they bring. They will bring in the GPHG because that is always where they shine. Okay, so what else do we have here? Watches and Wonder. Do you have any particular brand that we should cover? I think I covered plenty of them, but maybe there is something that you would like to be covered.
No, I think you've covered everything. Did you cover? My apologies if I missed it. Did you cover Vacheron Constantin?
That was my finger was already there at Vacheron.
Okay.
So I wanted to address two novelties. One that I start to like more and more is here the Patrimon. It's late in the evening. Patrimonie Retrograde day date, which is an existing model. I think they made it in rose gold. Now they're making it in platinum, as far as I know, with salmon dial.
Yep. That's
How do,
beautiful. Yeah, that's a lovely watch. I do like that one.
me too, but it's quite big, isn't it? 42
Yeah.
millimeters.
For a dress watch, definitely, it's very big.
Yeah. How
So-
nice would that be? 40 or 39 millimeters.
It'd be amazing.
Have you tried that on?
No, I haven't tried any Patraminis on yet. Yeah, maybe next time. I'm going back to the VC boutique next week, so I might have a look at some of these.
Yeah, I hope that that next time I'm in Geneva, I can try it out.
Yeah.
A little bummer, I must say, is, and you can see it here, the movement is quite small compared to the case.
Yeah, it definitely is. I also saw, I know when we're on the overseas, on the blue dial, they've got a smaller version as well. I think it's 34.5 millimeters.
Is that a new one or?
I think it's a new one.
Oh, okay.
But I think it's a little bit too small.
Well, 34 is certainly very small. Not sure if Swiss has the chance to try it on. So another novelty is here the overseas moon phase retrograde date. What do you think of that?
I like that one a lot. It's very good.
Do we know if the tone of the blue is the same, just like with the three-hander, or is that different?
From the pictures I saw, it looked the same.
Because that is where the overseas really shines with that blue dial.
Yeah.
I think everybody's after the blue dial. How do you feel about the price? I think it's 45 or 45,000 US dollars.
Yeah, I think the price is reasonable for the level of complication and the type of watch it is. I don't think it's too expensive, but out of my budget for the moment. But yeah, it's certainly. I don't think it's considering the other watches we've looked at recently.
Yeah, we have to focus
exactly.
sometimes. What I found interesting is that here the Tradition Tourbillon Retrograde. Have you seen that? What is your?
I hadn't seen that. It's wow.
But you've seen the discussion about it, or followed it, or is it the first time that you see it?
It's the first time, I think.
Okay, because what I like here is, first of all, the movement bridge that where you can see the perlage being applied, and also some guillochage here on that bridge. What I found significant, that I'm a little bit interested in the technology. Let me try to find a good picture of it. What I liked here is that snail cam. Can you see that on top? Oh, it's very small, that image. And you can see this looks a little bit like a snail here on top. Is that visible?
Yeah, I get the image. Yeah,
that thing charges the mechanism that then gives the energy when this date hand jumps back, because you can imagine that uses a lot of energy, and that snail is charging or pushing that finger out more and more, and that charges then a spring, and the power of the spring is released then at the end of the month and jumps the date indicator back. So here this entire mechanism, how this retrograde date display works, is exposed. I find that really cool, very interesting.
it definitely is.
But also very expensive. I don't know the price. I think 140 or something like that. So I think we covered most of what was interesting for me. Maybe someone, what about AP? They are not there, Watches 63. AP introduced their new models over the last couple of weeks. You may remember the the code 59, code 1159 in steel, for example, that they introduced. They introduced that super complicated chronograph. They also introduced that chronograph with a rattrapante in the middle. So they already introduced their novelties. They're not exhibiting at Watches and Wonder because they don't feel. I think the CEO made it clear, and he said it's too expensive. I'd rather than not spend the money. Okay, so those are the topics that I've prepared for tonight. It has been quite a long show. We've been going for 2 hours. Thank you very much for hopping on the last minute. Are there any questions? What about Omega? Watches 63 is asking. I think Omega is having a separate event, I think, after Watches and Wonders. They're not exhibiting there. I think they have their own event. Do you know something, Mohammed?
No, I don't, unfortunately. But I still know that a lot of the models that they released last year still haven't made it through, like the colourful Aquaterras. So I think they've got to focus on getting the stuff they promised last year.
Yeah, so true. I've seen a comment here. Not sure if it was Laurent Ferrier. Was it Laurent Ferrier? Yes. Someone mentioned Laurent Ferrier, the Grand Sport. Now with the salmon dial, well, that is a titanium Grand Sport, so totally unobtainable, unfortunately. I like it, but keep in mind that's pretty big. Okay, so I think we're gonna finish the show, unless you have some hot topics that you want to discuss right now.
No, I think we've covered everything. It's been a good show. 2 hours of great content, great discussion. Nothing further. It's all good. Thank you, Jonathan.
That's good to know. You're always too kind to me, forgiving, and that is what I like about you. So I posted the link again here in the comments, just in case you want to join us in the after show. I think Mohammed and I will have a chat for 20 minutes and then leave. If you want to join us, the link is posted here. I hope that next week we will be joined by Swis, and he hopefully gives us a little bit of a feedback what he saw on Watches and Wonder. And I'm pretty sure there are a lot of models that we still can talk about. So thank you, or my thanks go out to all the viewers that have been with us so long. We extended the time that we initially planned. Thanks to Mohammed Ali for joining me, and I'm running the trailer. See you next week. Bye-bye.